Good evening, everypony, and welcome to Commentary as Magic stream on tonight, Sunday, August 12th, 2018. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
I'm Emperor Bugle.
Big cheese.
And 3 resource removal is still necessary at all times.
Sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4. This is very true.
If you're playing yellow, you can get away with 5.
Couple Brians in there.
Yeah, I'm quite partial to 3 Bryans and 2 friends are always there.
If you're Skitter, I think you get away with about 11.
11.
Well, resource removal aside, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for sure. And I feel like I'm in the middle of a Hitchcock film because there's burbs everywhere. Thank you for that courtesy chuckle.
I'm just waiting for the crickets.
It's not late enough. Otherwise, I could hold down my mic and you would have crickets.
It's the best ambiance.
Yeah. It has been a fun couple of weeks, though. Draining, perhaps, for some of us, but fun. Couple big tournaments here. Gen Con just took place last weekend, and BronyCon the weekend before that, each of which boasted a competitive core tournament, which had players come out with a variety of competitive decks in different archetypes to see what stuck when AJ and Main 6 are gone. And there's definitely some trends we can look to there. But before we go super deep into that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out for the tournament that we ran at Gen Con. It was great seeing many of you out there. For those of you who we missed, we're sorry you weren't able to make it, but hopefully you'll be able to catch up with us at our next event, which we will have more info about soon.
So many cons.
So many cons. Never enough cons. They're like dice. You can never have too many cons.
But can I have a tungsten con?
No. No, you can't.
Okay, we're gonna make a con. It's gonna be Tungsten Con.
Tungsten
That
Con?
actually sounds like a cool name for a con.
How about just Tongue Con?
No.
No.
Anyway.
I'm gonna veto that one right now.
Okay, when Grandpa's views it before I can, that says it's bad. So, no.
Alright.
We're just going to call it W.
There we go. That's fine.
Just like the worst name for a con ever.
Just W.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a Pokemon trainer named N, so...
That's terrible. It's almost
And
as bad
there
as L.
It is
there-
almost as bad as L.
There are cards in the Pokemon game just called N.
Yep.
Just N.
N.
Have
Letter
fun
N.
looking for them.
It's great. But we're not talking about Pokemon. We're talking about well-constructed games. Or something like that.
I'm not sure who you're burning on here, but... Man.
So we're
It's
talking about Magic?
Look at the recent Magic standard ban lists and tell me
Oh.
Magic's a well-constructed game. Come to think of it, I can't actually find a good CCG that I can look to and be like, yeah, that's a pinnacle of good card design right there.
So we're
But
just
that's okay.
burning on everybody. Okay.
Yeah, basically. Burn the industry. It's fine. It's still fun. Doesn't mean it's not fun. So, moving in chronological order, the first tournament that we had was BronyCon. I was not there, but did get the chance to commentate it. Aura and Cheese were there, and Bugle would have been there if Southwest Airlines wasn't... Well, my next statements would be censored, so I'll let Bugle describe that as best he wants to.
Things happened. I couldn't go.
Something about an 80-minute delay and a missed connection.
Yeah.
Was
And the makeup flight being 24 hours later, which would have been decidedly after the event.
But we did get to see a couple interesting deck lists coming out of that. So, Ara, why don't you walk us through what we saw at BronyCon.
So I think we'll just go down this in standing order. Unfortunately, we don't have the standings for below top 4 for BronyCon, but let's take a look at top 2.
Sure.
So this here is a Chrysalis Blue-White. I'm not really sure what to call this.
Frighten Control? It certainly seemed to play more like Control. It was like a blue-white version of Burb from what I saw. In that, yes, most of your cards are designed to mess with the opponent, but in doing so, you also happen to occasionally cause face-offs.
Maybe?
That is a quite high-level description of Burb.
Well, I don't know what you want from me on this.
Like a pony, but you've never given me one.
I have not given you a pony.
You've given me pieces of cardboard with ponies on them, but you've never given me a pony.
It's the best I can do. I will draw you a pony, Aracat.
I appreciate the effort and the
Okay.
thought.
Okay.
I mean, you need to at least match Ara's gifts of ponies on rocks, laser etched.
That is true. I will have to build a pony out of electrical materials, I suppose. Anyway, let's focus on this deck.
No, more tangents. All right. So I had the opportunity to play against this once in Swiss, and Jaffis and I met again in top 2, whereupon the two of us basically looked at each other and looked at our decks and said,
No, thank
let's not do that. And so we agreed to split and then played a match for fun, which I sincerely hope was far more interesting than watching Burb yet again.
It certainly was. I think that one ended 15-14.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great match.
But we'll talk more about Burb later.
Honestly a little surprised you decided to do that, as the entry here is very, very sparse. So why didn't you just not flip your bane?
Honestly, I was kind of sick of playing Burb at that point. And
Oh, okay.
he was very sick of playing against Burb. But this is rather interesting. He got... those Zomponies are very, very mean. And he got a bunch of those out very quickly. This has, obviously, a ton of Frighten, and it's got a lot of ways to sit there and say, you know what, no. How about you don't unfrighten your stuff?
Yeah, this is actually kind of interesting in that one thing we see in a number of decks in the current meta is trying to leverage AT advantage, right? You see purple running Paper Twilights. You see orange running Factory Jacks. You see blue trying to make the most efficient plays possible. And this deck in particular relies on being able to put out an aggressive board state, or at least a board state that can continuously be confronting. And its AT efficiency really comes from the Zomponies, like you say. They're not efficient on... Well, they are exactly efficient on their own, but they tax your opponent. And in case players thought that the name of Frighten Control here is not accurate, let's count, shall we?
How
2
many
in the
ways
problem
can you
deck,
frighten?
plus 3 Rutherfords, 3 Bab Seeds, 3 Torches, 3 Zomponies, 3 Sepocles.
I believe you mean burrito attack.
Aggressive burrito.
Aggressive burrito. 3 Trots, and 2 Sticks. We are well in the 20s.
Oh, you forgot 2 more. You can redeeming qualities your other stuff to frighten. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Redeeming qualities, Zomponies.
It's like the only thing you're going to redeem qualities.
Yeah,
Or
basically.
Torch.
I could redeem qualities Torch, that's fair. So there is a ton of Frighten in this deck, and much of it is repeatable. 3 Zomponies, 3 Torches. Those are both very easy tools to use turn after turn after turn, and they're very
Stick.
big, allowing you to confront. Yes, thank you. Stick as well. So
And
the
Trot.
tax on... And Trot, if that isn't DFO'd away.
Sticks.
So yeah, the tax ramps up very quickly. There were times I saw that deck facing an opponent who had a board of many, many friends, all of which were face down.
And while it's at this, Bab's seed is getting very large indeed.
Swole? Would you use the word swole here?
I would not.
I would.
Nor would I.
The only time I would use swole when describing a card in pony cards is if its bulk biceps get swole.
Get swole.
Yes. That's fair.
I think any bulk card could be described that way when it's got a few +1 power counters on it.
How about pink-white?
Nah.
So
Not allowed
apart
to
from
use
that,
anyway.
apart from all the Frighten, there's a couple other tech inclusions in here. We do see a pair of resource removal, which is a little light for this meta, but it seemed to work when he found it. Wake-up calls to counter very important events. An uh-oh
Like
to...
things that banish your trash.
Yeah. An uh-oh to banish high-value friends that maybe couldn't be frightened. And a problem deck that resembles a pretty aggressive list. It's not a lot of 2 bonuses, but a lot of free movement that's there. And some extra removal with the Nightmare Knights and the unreasonable demands.
It's the Down the Drain's actually a fairly good counter aggro card, because I found myself looking at that and just being like, well, this is going to suck.
Well, you were playing Scootaloo at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Overall, it was... Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a really good problem to slow aggro down. I like that quite a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Celestia doesn't like it either.
Ara, what other thoughts did you have on this deck since you got the chance to play against it?
Torch is annoying. Torch is really annoying when there's lots of Zomponies around.
I think I played against it once during Swiss, but in that game, I was playing Burp, I got removal heavy early, and so Zomponies were not around for more than a single priority.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make. Certain control decks that are very limited on their sources of hard removal have to choose the exact opportune moment to use them and choose the right target. And in this deck, Zomponies are definitely one of those priority targets.
Yep.
I think Torch is the higher target, honestly.
Torch is good.
I think that depends too much on where in the game you are. Torch is more of a threat early game when you're sitting there and you don't have enough AT to reliably get your stuff rallied. If you've kind of got set up, whatever, I'll just rally stuff anyway.
Or just let it die. Like,
The Zomponies represents more of a threat because it makes it harder to rally stuff.
Well, the main reason I think Torch is the bigger threat is because you have 3 Rutherfords and 3 Sophocles attacks. And that basically becomes 2 AT, dismiss a friend of my choice.
yeah, because it's immediate, but...
Yeah, you just wait until the opponent's end or score phase.
That's fair. It's definitely one of those 2 friends.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Anything else
you
to
can
say?
let that Ember chill.
Yeah. Ember's fine. Anything else to say on this deck for now?
Not here.
I just want to say that, like, I've always been a fan of Torch since he came out, and I just was like, I don't know what deck to put him in, and I guess this is the deck to put him in.
I don't know. It's kind of nice to see something like this come out of left field.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Which
They did-
Octavia is that again? I don't recognize that just by the art.
the ETB reveal top card resource into play.
Ah. Okay, so sometimes free staffs.
Free staffs, trots, wake up calls, CLAs, pirate ships.
Trash and be sad. Because your
free
opponent has no.
Yeah, that and free cybernetic limb actuator can be sad.
I mean, I'll put
Well-
CLA on Octodia, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a quarter chance of going off, I think. But
13 out of 45? Yeah, that's pretty close to that.
It's like a
it's a
third.
little
almost
bit
a
more.
third.
But
Anyway,
Only thing to note is in a meta that is full of mains that can pay to flip and might have ways of playing without that, Chrysalis is a risky choice. But with as
Yeah.
light on entry as this deck is, it's understandable why he chose to run it. But cool deck, Jeffus.
all right.
All right, Ara, talk to us about your absolute favorite thing in the whole world.
This is my least.
Sea
no, it's
Poppy?
My second least favorite thing in the whole world.
Is your first thing Starlight Glimmer?
No, Starlight's fine.
Trader?
is it Twist?
Okay, fine. I'm going to have to jack that up to like 4th or 5th.
Okay.
Wait, Twist was 2 or 3 things?
Twist is pretty bad, man.
They named some other things like the Traitor to the Hive. He's worse.
Obligatory hiss.
Obligatory hiss. This is
Burb.
Yeah. We've done a deck discourse on this in the past, so I don't think it's really necessary to go into this on detail. I really don't.
I think it is important to discuss.
That this is the wrong version of Burb.
I mean, yes.
I don't know. It topped 2 different cons this year. I mean, okay, it split Babs. I should be fair to James.
Like
I think it is important to talk about not necessarily what Burb does, but what it is becoming.
Well, sure, but I think we should save that more towards the end.
Sure. That's fine. We can definitely discuss that after we go through all the other cons.
Yeah.
Does anyone in chat have any questions about Burb, about what this deck is, about what it does, about why it keeps showing up?
Do we want to quickly discuss the
The other
the
variant?
changes that
Yes.
the variant?
We should, in fact. Let us do
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
So this is my version, but there were 2 other Burb lists, which are very slightly different.
Yeah. So after the ban list,
It was.
so this is actually not the right version.
This is what was posted, so this is what you were running.
It's not the right version. So what's actually changed here is that swapped the Surging High and Low for a Trading Traditions to help with the control matchup. Because Sky Star Chicken is actually a terrible idea.
Sky Star Chicken is the best idea.
And dropped a Magical Pony because without AJ in the meta, turns out you don't need to send things home that often. And you gain either a Tempest and Grubber or a bait and switch, depending on how you're feeling that day.
But one of the other key changes you've made here is trading a Tempest and Grubber for a Princess Skystar Friend to the End, I believe.
Yeah, more hard removal.
More hard removal, it works with all of the flicker tricks that the thing
Yeah,
works.
repeatable. Well, not infinitely repeatable, but it is. It potentially gives you like 11 more removals if you use everything to remove.
It becomes infinitely repeatable once your deck is empty and you still have a Discord Wrathful and
I mean,
a staff.
Yeah.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
I mean, you also need to have a Selena so you don't draw your Discord Wrathful.
Yeah, well, yes.
But yeah, that friend to the end is actually tremendously impactful because as much soft removal as Burb has in terms of moving the friend home, or putting it on top of its deck, or temporarily stealing it, or anything along those lines. There are some friends that just have to be dismissed. Just bar none. And Burb only ran 3 cards that allowed it to do that. Pink Purple doesn't have a retire engine. If you want a retire engine, you generally have to splash into white so you can run bodyguards. I mean, Pink does in Minuet, but Burb doesn't run it. I knew you were waiting there in the wings, Bugle. I could hear it. I could hear you jumping on me. But yeah, that friend at the end, the first time you play it, you feel kind of bad because it's 4 AT for 2 power dismiss a friend. Every other time after that point, it feels great.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
Personal preference, I think. I don't particularly like its inclusion, but that's me.
The trading traditions, I think, is very important, though, because
it totally changes the control matchup.
It does change the control matchup, but I really don't like that because it makes it a lot harder to DFO away an annoying opening problem from your opponent. And yes, there are places where, and that's indeed why the thing still runs Concerning Cutie Mark.
That's why we don't take Concerning Cutie Mark away. That card stays in there.
But Skystar Chicken.
Yeah, it's actually not only the control matchup that the trading traditions works out, as I've found out in very recent testing. Aggro control lists, which are like actually aggro, unlike Burb, will try and fight Burb by getting rid of all the purple, and that's much harder when they start with trading traditions.
Yeah. I think that's about everything we want to say on this list for now, though. Blue Fairy does say, shut down the purple in it and it's much less annoying, and that is true, but again, trading traditions can make that much harder.
Yeah. And that one Singing Barrel, most decks can't deal with Singing Barrel.
Or will choose not to, yeah.
Yeah.
You've still got
3 AT to immediately banish it.
It happened to me once.
Yeah. I prefer 2 AT, make them discard it with Soprano.
There you go. Or just Dream Seized it.
No, or yeah, just Dream Seized. But then you're playing Orange, then.
Alright, let's move on.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, speaking about Orange, let's talk about Orange. Specifically, Orange and Purple.
At Gen Con.
At Gen Con.
Are we moving on from BronyCon?
We do not have standings below top 4.
But we only showed 2 decks.
Yep. That was top 4.
Yep. We technically showed 3 decks.
With small variations between them. Like we said, we'll talk about that later at the end. But yes, top 2 were the Chrysalis Blue-White Frighten and Burb, and then 3rd and 4th were 2
More
other
Burb.
versions of Burb. All right.
I would have showed you Whippersnappers.
Sure you would have.
Probably would have, actually. Anyway, shall we look at Gen Con?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. This is, I think, 1 level down from Burb on my list of favorite things.
Like 1 level down as in it's closer to your favorite thing?
No, it is further away from my favorite thing. This is Chaos Control. And this is a real unfun deck to play against. It's real effective.
It is 4 color.
It is 4 color. It's technically 5 color.
Cheese, walk us through it.
It's a deck. The end. No. So it turns out
Scene.
we have these cards that are called Chaos cards, and they have these cool abilities when you flip them.
Chaotic.
I could
The
hear you waiting
reminder's
for that one too.
text says Chaos. And and turns out that we've gained some more ways to start face-offs in main phase. In
Someone
Stick.
say sticks?
I heard
Sticks are great.
sticks.
I like sticks.
And so the whole goal of this deck is to control using these effects. And you get infinite, not in a single turn, but across turns, infinite reuse of your chaos effects through Doctor Who's time loop. And another addition in Sequestria actually made this is I guess based off of a deck back from 2016,
Correct.
Waking Nightmare, which had a lot of these cards based on Doctor Who's, but did not have Selena Blue. And Selena Blue just it makes your draw crazy and lets you immediately set instead of just main phase set. So if the situation changes and you need a different card on top of your deck, use Selena.
Yeah, previously Waking Nightmare had used Moon Dancer if you didn't know what you wanted to flip, so you just put a Moon Dancer on top. But
and this is much better.
Yeah.
And
especially since you net a card too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it did lose all of going to core, it did lose all of the chaos effects from Absolute Discord.
Cheerily break it up being the very notable one.
Yeah, other than Cheerily, I don't know how much it cares about the other ones it loses.
Scootaloo was kind of unfortunate, because that was a great answer against farming.
What did the Scootaloo one do?
Players can't score points.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. That was fun. But other than that, it didn't lose a terrible amount, and it also gained a new main, Tempest, who is kind of good to be able to immediately at the beginning of the game say, no, you're not DFOing.
And also I get to eat something important out of your hand if I choose to.
Yeah. And then eventually you get into another Troublemaker, and then it's kind of hard to defeat Troublemakers when every time you face off, it's either going to be like a Zap, or a Magicite, or a Fernando, or Tender Taps putting something crazy into play, and etc.
Can we talk about Fernando and Tender Taps for a moment? Because they my bros.
Yeah. So another so I don't think the original Waking Nightmare had DOE, right?
No, it did not.
No.
It was built with Marks in Time.
Yeah, it was Marks. So Tender Taps is great because all the friends in the deck that you're actually going to play, except for Tender Taps themselves and Photo Finish, are 2 cost. So you can return stuff from discard pile. So like against Burb, you care if things are dismissed, but it's not the end of the world. You can get them back. And Burb only has a limited amount of dismissal. So as long as they don't get too far out ahead, you can generally recover. And then Fernando's just great with Stick, because I choose the friend, and then you retire a friend involved in the face-off. Oh look, you have one friend involved.
That is especially relevant.
It's going away.
Yeah, that is especially relevant against Burb, who would normally be setting like a Discord Wrathful on top with Selena Blue to portal a friend. Because as long as you're the one starting the face-off...
Triggering orders.
Yep,
trigger orders.
You're going to process your triggers first, so they don't have a chance to portal that friend and make it a new copy that would not be frightened or would not be dismissed if you're starting the face-off with Blackest Night.
And another thing is that there really aren't that many effects in core right now that either mess with your top deck or shuffle up an opponent's deck, especially at like immediate speed.
Well, there are, they're just not used.
Not too many. There's
one big one that's used, and most people won't think of it. Soprano.
Makes you draw the card.
Yeah.
Makes you draw the card, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's Soprano coming through, and...
Sweetie Belle.
What does Sweetie Belle do?
Discard top 2.
Evil Sweetie Belle.
Probably the best answer to Chaos Control.
That one, yeah. And then one
aside
more,
from just getting rid of all
the festival.
Oh, Sunset Festival.
Sunset Festival.
That one's actually kind of really irritating for Chaos Control to deal with, just because all that work that you just spent ordering the top and bottom of your deck and the meticulous note-taking, God, the note-taking.
So
Dear
much
God,
note-taking.
The note-taking. This is homework, the deck.
Yes.
Also, I guess there is a friend you need. It's not immediate, but
Yes, I'm the friend you need. Fairy cards
Yeah,
does bring that up.
yeah. And that's about it. And most of those aren't seeing play right now.
Well, worse
I think
yet, most of those are in orange, where I mean, look at this. The real power of this deck is mostly hiding in the orange stuff. Although Selena over there is causing trouble on her own. But the Desert Road and the Factory Jack and the Time Loop, just,
The Desert Road is 100% necessary in this deck as well.
oh yeah.
It was a late inclusion, but without that, the matchup against Burb is just atrocious.
Yeah. So, what I want to know is, when are we banning Factory Jack?
yes. Go ahead and add Stick on there.
I'm okay with Staff. I think Factory Jack is
Nah.
the second strongest card in court right now.
Nah.
behind staff.
No, behind Singing Barrel.
Okay.
Nah.
So that was Chaos Control. Not much else to really say about it.
Have we discussed Blackest Night? Why it's really important?
Oh, that is shenanigans.
I mean, repeatable removal?
It's another main phase enabler is the big thing.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if either of you got to pull this off, but last year when I had a similar deck, I got to pull this off with a Blackest Night at halfway across Equestria and a ton of AT.
Yes, I did get to do that.
That's fun.
It is fun, provided they have at least one friend there to start with.
Yes.
Oh, because you get to move things there.
You move, you set up your next victim.
Yeah.
It's real good. Now, Blackest Night is a huge risk in this deck because it is 2 points, and there are numerous ways that you can end up losing that face-off. Like blind flips into opposing Moondancers when you're up against Burb. I'm not bitter.
And then they put a staff on top.
And then they put a staff on top.
And then Nightmare Moon goes flat.
And then Nightmare Moon goes splat.
And you paid 3 AT for that privilege.
Yep, feels bad, man.
I did not hear about that one.
Yeah.
I got to witness that one. It was glorious as a witness, and probably not very glorious from
it was
PvP's
exciting
perspective.
It was exciting, at least. It is also important to note there are 3 resource removal that are in here, 2 Mysterious Disappearance and 1 Big Mac. The Mysterious Disappearance are potentially reusable with Dr. Hooves if you need to. The Big Mac is primarily in there because if your opponent has a Changeling Throne, none of your Chaos stuff works. If your opponent has a Spooky Ruins, none of your Chaos stuff works.
Yeah, Spooky Ruins looks at this deck and goes, what were you doing again?
Right. So you've got to have another method of doing it so you don't have to burn 3 cards from your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had exactly one person play whatever it's called against me.
Changeling Throne.
Changeling Throne against me. Luckily, I had a Mysterious Disappearance in hand.
Yeah, nothing says sad like an opposing Changeling Throne, and you just blind flipped into a Mysterious Disappearance with no hooves in play.
Womp womp.
And then nothing happens.
Alright, let's move on and look at some other lists.
Sure. Time to look at BRB again?
No, not really.
No?
I think we already said everything about that.
Yeah, so the next 3 decks were Burb.
So
Well,
No.
Sorry, no, the next 2.
It was Chaos Control, Burb, Burb.
correct. And that's Gen Con's top 4. So kind of the same thing. A lot of birds. It's just
And a lot of sea ponies.
Yeah.
A lot of Selenas.
If you were to use a single word to describe this meta, would you say that bird would be the word?
No.
No. I would
Yeah.
say
because it's not appropriate to Chaos Control.
There's Selena Blues in there.
Yeah.
She's
not
not a bird.
She is half a bird.
Look, she has wings.
That's not how that works.
that is totally
a
how that
bird
works.
Mix.
okay. So I'm going to stretch the definition of a word a bit, but the word I'm going to choose is shooby-doo, shoo-shooby-doo.
Fair.
That is also appropriate.
Yes, that is appropriate.
But yeah, there were 12 Selenas in top 4 at Gen Con.
Yep. All right. Anyway, moving on from the top 4, let's look at the top 5th through 8th.
All right.
Now things got more interesting.
Well, top 8.
Let's see. Here we've got a Balloona purple list. And this was rather interesting.
Our one aggro list in top 8.
I thought we had 4, because the Burbalists.
Nope.
Nope. But anyway, let's take a look at this thing. So Balloona purple. Yep, there's Godo in chat. Hi, Godo.
Hi, Godo. It was cool seeing you run this deck.
Yeah, so there's all of the fun stuff that purple gets, plus I forget what Twilight and Spike. I forget
Twilight
what their
and
subtitle
Spike.
is. That is a silly
Ultimate
card.
Organizers. It is.
That is
It's
a silly
ridiculous and
card.
limited. But even outside of that, it still pulls some weight.
Yeah, it's strong enough that before Applejack was banned, I was splashing this in my purple orange deck.
Which card? I'm sorry.
Ultimate Organizers.
Oh yeah.
Because they were one of the best answers to AJ.
Immediate speed. Go away.
It also brings all the rest of the fun of purple, specifically in the portals and aggressive burritos. Those are just...
That's not purple.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. But the portals allow this deck to also get more uses out of the Rutherfords and the
Balloona.
Swinging Wonders. Now, it does not work on Balloon because that puts things into play. It does not play
Oh,
things.
she's really when you play?
Yes, she
So
is.
lame.
This is why tokens don't work with her.
This is why tokens don't work with her.
Trust me, it seems like it sucks. This is important.
It is kind of important. And there's a couple of other fun tricks we can pull here, like, getting Night Glider involved in a face-off that she maybe wasn't. Seems good.
I didn't realize there was only one Thunderlane in this deck.
Actually, one of the big things that they've been used, that Godot has used Portal and actually Sepakli attacked with is the opponent plays Berry Punch Learn Swirl, and he says, "Nope. I will frighten my own thing to prevent you from retiring it."
Yep.
Yeah.
It does, in fact, go back to his control when that happens.
So Godo does say he wishes he had more Night Glider overpowerings. I think any aggro player at heart can agree with that statement. Though in this current meta, Night Glider's hard to make work, and again, we'll talk about that towards the end of this stream.
No, especially when we've got Burb running around or Chaos Control sitting there going, I'm going to make face-offs very annoying for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your best option in blue, though.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly.
Well, I guess you also have the dilemma.
Yeah.
Plenty of possible resource removal here, which is great. The Luna's Future can serve double duty, far more likely to be used to end of turn portal something than in Burb, where they're primarily going to be used for resource removal. But you've also got the special beam cannons in there, so it really didn't matter how many resources you were running against Godo, he'd probably have an answer to it.
Yeah, that's 6.
That is enough resource removal.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
So, if you're like me when you look at this deck, there's one specific card that stands out. as a why is that card there?
Is that the Singleton Thunderlane?
No,
Cool
It-
pants.
it is definitely Quibble Pants. And-
With the no troublemakers?
With the 0 troublemakers, so it's just a 2/2/2/2 meticulous one.
Yeah, it does feel like the Shining Armor may be a better inclusion here.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to Godot about this, and he says he's liked the meticulous better than the competitive too.
That's fair.
Now, you can play Shining Armor just off Trading Traditions instead, but he's got enough entry in this deck. Like he's not tapped.
No, there's 8 entry, not counting the problems.
Yeah.
Of which there are 2 problems that can get him, or 2 different sets of problems that can get him the color entry.
Seems good.
But yeah, the Quibble Pants has been working out. And like I was looking for another card to put in that slot, and it works. Like it's not a bad card in that slot, despite the 0 troublemakers.
Right. Yeah. Only other. I mean, it's a 2-cost friend, and I think that's important. When you look at other friends outside that cost, then you run into things like Zecora, Mysterious, and Spooky.
Right.
But at the 2-cost slot, if Godot prefers the Meticulous and finds it's working well for him, and maybe he really does want to dig through his deck because there is a good amount of Meticulous in here, more power to him.
Yeah, especially when you have 1 Night Glider.
That's always been one of my main complaints about aggro decks, is that you don't get the consistency that you normally do out of control decks. You don't get to dig through your deck enough. And that's a good way to fix that.
Yep. So clever solution. Cool deck.
Let's see.
Yeah, the first time I played against this, I was very surprised at how effective it was, and I learned that the way I was playing against it was just wrong. It says something about having a rogue decks.
And possibly one organizers now that AJ's out of the meta. Yeah. I could see that being dropped, Godot.
Maybe? I mean, honestly, I think it's the best card in the deck.
It's a very good card, but I'd probably run a Mysterious and Spooky in there.
Yeah, fair. You can portal that.
Yeah, you've got 6 portal effects in the deck. Next list.
Next list. Here we have a mono pink offering from Destiny Draw.
Kill all the things.
Let me count the different ways that you can dismiss something with this deck. I'll give you a hint. It's basically all of them.
There is another card type that you should count, though.
Is that the resource removal card type?
No.
That is the resource removal card type.
No, I think we should be counting the muffins.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
That would also be a thing to count.
I'm okay counting the muffins. There's a lot of muffins here.
It might be 15.
I think it's 15 muffins.
I think it is actually every core legal mono pink. I think that's actually every one, period. I don't think there were any outside of pink, or in pink outside of core.
I'm going to count the muffins in belly flop on a technicality.
Sure. 18.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
There's not a muffins in Rolling Tones, is there?
No.
No.
Alright. Okay, so if the frustration in playing against Burb is that Burb seems to have near limitless sources of cards to mess with you at immediate speed.
This cranks it up to 11 by including basically every possible removal option.
Yeah, not necessarily immediate
In mono
speed.
pink.
Yes, in mono pink.
Although it does have 9 immediate speed removal.
Yes.
I don't know. There's rolling tones in there, and I haven't seen those for a long time.
Well, why would you run that when you have belly flop if you're playing 2 colors?
Because you need all the dismissal.
Yeah, well, that's why. When you're in 1 color, then you run this. Yeah.
All
Turns
Um,
out-
dismissal.
Turns out Burb's going to run out of portal effects to save its friends a lot faster than this deck's going to run out of ways to remove them.
Burb's gonna run out of friends a lot faster than this runs out. What a ways to remove them.
Very true.
God, does this have more removal
well,
than Burb
it
has
technically
friends?
has infinite removal. Lyra can proc infinity times. Well, 40 something times.
Lyra can try. And there's a breakdown.
Muffin Mare, or
And there's a
Moving Mare
Moving
can
Mare.
actually dismiss almost any friend in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. And against a deck that relies exclusively on its friends, and basically nothing else, like Burb, it can actually stand up pretty well.
Because if you depend on your friends to get anything done, you're gonna have a bad time against this.
Now, what happens when you don't depend on your friends?
It's a darn shame that AJ's banned, huh?
Yeah. The AJ ban, I believe, was part of the reason for the player in question here running this deck.
The other option is actually to try and outswarm them.
Although there's
Token
oddly enough
swarms.
this little cardboard box over here, which is a
Mhm.
very interesting inclusion.
I mean, I would include it. It shuts down the main with staff. It's your best answer to staff in Mono Pink.
So that was the reason, was staff.
And
Turns out it actually doesn't do anything against staff.
in this particular deck, it's the only answer against staff because, as people may have noted earlier, this has 0 resource removal.
Yeah.
And
Pink is the only color that has no option.
And staff, the theory here is good, but the application of it didn't work out exactly. In that, sure, your opponent will be far less likely to be able to frighten any of your friends with staff if their main can't contribute its power. Makes sense. Unfortunately, when you don't actually care about winning the face-off and just care about flipping cards, Cardboard Box doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah. So Chaos Control didn't care about it for that. And Burb didn't care about it because Burb cares about having a 6-power main and double confronting.
I mean, I'll hit things with a stick, but
Yeah, it's convenient, but it's not critical. So if it gets cardboard box, you get cardboard box. It's like, I guess I just won't frighten things.
Oh,
But I'm still going to DFO.
I just realized there is actually one card in this deck that can be resource removal if you are really lucky.
what the
The Sunset,
Sunset
Festival.
Festival?
Hit that one Big Mac.
You could hit O'Brien,
Well, I mean, Brian wasn't in
Chaos Control.
Chaos Control.
I mean,
I
that's
get it.
fair.
Man,
You
that-
got to hit that one Big Mac.
that's going to take some severe luck. But
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, so an interesting deck. I don't want to call it a meme deck because it actually had some teeth to it.
No, it had a severe amount of teeth. Those party mares.
But if your goal was to build a deck with every derpy in it, I think this is the deck you build.
It's a good deck.
It's fun.
I was actually going to play something similar to this in Hako, except for the fact that I couldn't due to other obligations. It was going to run a certain
Great
main
Pegasus.
six, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Main six minuet. You can do it in one
Yeah.
color.
All right, let's go on and take a look at the another list.
We have another Burb list here piloted by Drada Arcana in top 8. However, we've already talked about Burb. And that list, I believe, is identical to the...
Nope.
Nope.
Is it?
Nope. Had differences.
Interesting.
I think it is actually the list that we had for what Yeah, what Ivory and I ran. I think that's what.
No, it's
For what
different
Ivory
from
ran.
Ivory's list by like 1 or 2 cards.
It was still running
Sorry,
three
not
magic.
Ivory and I.
Yeah.
From Gen Con. Sorry,
Yeah.
BronyCon.
Yeah.
Whatever. Words. Yeah, I think it was missing the trading traditions, right?
It had trading
Yeah.
traditions. It was running 3 magical ponies still.
Okay. so
And
it was-
Ivory's list was accidentally reported wrong because I think you just scanned the QR code and because he had to scratch some stuff out manually.
Oh, that might have been why.
That would explain things. There we go.
Okay. But moving on from that, Burb, let's take a look at the last list that was here in the top 8.
Blue Fairy with more Skystar.
Hi, Blue.
This is, I believe, zombie ponies.
Yeah, this is
Not Zomponies. That's a different card.
what did she call this? The Trotting Dead.
Trotting Dead. Yes, there we go. Her, I believe her husband made many custom rarity zombie tokens for her.
They are amazing. If you haven't seen them
They're
yet,
kind of horrifying.
Didn't see any of these.
They're-
They're horrifying.
they're kind of incredible. So this deck eats ponies and then makes zombie ponies, and these zombie ponies have a tendency to pay you.
I
Yeah,
don't
this deck
think I
is-
ever went up against this in Swiss.
Yeah, this deck was Pink White Control has been a favorite of mine for a long time, and Bodyguard makes it work really well.
I was about to say,
Since-
this is basically your jam right here because
Yeah.
Everlasting Love in this deck is actually really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you've got 2 different ways, actually 3 different ways to make your own friends enter the discard pile.
I mean, you've got 4, but no one's ever going to use Soprano on themselves just to tutor up the same friend.
You
Yeah.
have 5. No one's going to food fight their own bait and switch.
That's also true.
But yeah, I like this deck a lot. I've always liked Pink White Control. Bodyguard slots in real nice because you know what Pink and White are really good at? Removing friends.
Go figure,
Yeah.
right?
huh?
See some
Removing-
splashing for some resource removal.
Yes, that's the 3 the 3 special beam cannons because your other alternative costs 3 and makes you discard 2 cards.
Hey, there's 2 Luna's Futures in there too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
5
Those are-
resource removal.
There's some good flicker stuff in here too.
Bait and switch is a good flicker.
Soprano. Though you can
Soprano.
always just barrel Soprano. So.
PFF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's fun stuff for sure.
So Luna's futuring PFF feels kind of bad because you don't get that friend right away.
No, but
I mean,
if you,
no.
But if you're setting up for something in the next
Oh
turn,
sure.
So,
So-
Blue, the question I would have for you, since you're here in chat, is how much are you mourning the loss of main 6 right now? Because I know main 6 was in this deck originally.
the answer to that one should be 0 because that was a toxic card that needed to go.
Tender Taps actually hits quite a few friends here.
Tender Taps hits everything but itself, Minuet, and Bait and Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool list though. Very different style of control, and the 3 mimics in there because, hey, turns out mimics is probably a little too strong for its point value.
I have no idea what you're talking about or what you're insinuating, and I take no responsibility. 0.
Oh, look at us! We're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about all the cards we made, and we're gonna be so proud of this card that we made. Unless that card turns out to be over efficient, and then we're gonna deny it.
Yep.
All right, I see how it is, Bugle. Your true
I
colors
mean-
are revealed.
I'm not denying facts because they're not facts. They're things that you're making up.
Okay.
What do you mean
Okay.
his true colors? I thought he was mauve.
I mean,
I
he
like
played mod back
mimics.
in 2015.
Mauve, Mauve.
I heard you say mod.
I mean, Ara said it, not
Do you like kites?
Isn't that Glimmy that likes
Starlight.
kites?
Yeah, you're
No.
getting.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Maud just thinks kites are cool.
Kites
Yeah.
are cool.
Anyway, that was. Oh, I did want to point out one more thing. The problem deck. You'll notice most of these friends are pink, yet most of the problems are white. That's probably because of bodyguard.
Yeah, there's a few tokens that'll be generated in this list.
A few.
Oh, also kind of cool to see. You've got the 3 mimics, but you've also got 3 Captain Wuzzes. So, I mean, that might be 6 mimics.
Yeah.
Blue and I were actually talking about that, and I believe she said she was considering taking out the mimics and changing was into a different entry.
Ah.
As I don't think mimics work out for her as well as she had liked.
I
Or
don't
hoped.
know what entry would be better here, though.
I'd run Rarity.
Yeah, rarity.
I mean, you could.
I actually kind of like the Wuzz and the mimics because it gives you something to hide behind and make more use out of your bodyguard's prepared tokens.
Or instead of rarity, you could just run motivational speech.
That's true. Though it does feel rough running a bunch of resource-based entry. Can say this from experience. It leads to far more dead hands.
Yeah, well.
Kinda. On the other hand, Burb is a thing, and you really need resource-based entry against that.
Until it rip trees your resource-based entry.
Like, trust me, I've been playing a deck that's been running 3 Changeling Citizens, and it was great up until I went against Burb.
All right. So that takes us through the deck lists.
So
Do
you
we
want to
not have anything from Galacon?
No.
We unfortunately do not.
so Grandpa's, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the takeaways from this competitive season?
Sure, we can all share some thoughts on this. The biggest takeaway that appears to me anyway is that control is definitely strong and it's varied. But it generally has a more aggressive playstyle than in the past. And part of that is just because core removes access to some of the cards that have historically been in control.
Like, unless you can get a total lock and you're okay with 1 point per turn, you kind of have to be a little aggressive.
Oh, you're implying that you can't just sit there and photo finish your way to victory anymore.
You still can, but it's risky.
Yeah, like I think the only reason Chaos Control did well in Swiss was because of how big of an early game advantage Tempest gives you.
Yeah.
You're no longer waiting and like it's not, oh, my opponent's at 8 points, I'm at 0, I finally get to lock, or at least a partial lock, and now you gotta crawl your way back. It's more like, oh look, my opponent's at like 3 points and I locked.
I don't know. Control's always been strong once it gets figured out.
Yeah. As noted earlier, we talked about one aggro deck today and 0 farm decks, so there might be a reason for the lack of farm.
I think there was 1 farm at Gen Con.
There was, yes. And there was another aggro deck as well. They just didn't top.
Right. So,
but yes, this is a very control-heavy meta. And part of the reason for that is actually the main 6 ban. Main 6 was one of the best answers aggro, despite costing 5. It was one of the best answers aggro had against control. And with only 2 weeks between ban and Gen Con, and 1 week for the other one, BronyCon, people just didn't find good answers to control in time. So they just said, I'm just going to run control. It's what I know works.
Well, also, Chaos Control was pretty unknown. Like, it had not seen any play, basically.
Correct.
No. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like, there's probably a good Chaos Control deck here somewhere. I just don't know where. And it was found last minute.
Yeah, about 2 weeks before Gen Con. Okay, so that is definitely takeaway number 1 is there's a lot of control. What's takeaway number 2? Cheese.
Burb is amazing. Like, well, so split BronyCon and then was the rest of the top 4 at Gen Con.
Not to mention Bab's Gone and
And I
Everfree,
think,
where it placed very well.
did Drata in top 8 face you or another Burb deck?
He faced me.
Okay. But yeah, like, Burb doing pretty well. So you gotta kind of plan for it.
Yeah, we're starting
It's
to
my
see.
nemesis now.
It's your nemesis right now.
Right now, yeah.
It's kind of mine too.
I built a control killer and it dies to Burb, so it's not a control killer.
Yeah.
For those, go ahead, Aura.
One of the better answers to Burb is Chaos Control, at least in my opinion. Because I think if that gets off the ground with anything resembling a reasonable start, it can get to a point where it can just shut Burb down.
Yeah, and I think actually the main reason for that is that control versus control oftentimes comes down to who has more AT acceleration. And Chaos Control has 5, and Burb has 3.
It does have Rainbow Shine, but Rainbow Shine isn't
Rainbow Shine
pure
isn't AT
AT.
acceleration.
No.
The number of turn like maybe every 3 times you tap her, you might get value out of her. Maybe. Like, I don't count Rainbow Shine as AT acceleration at all.
Clearly you need to be running more F-stops.
I mean, yeah.
Judge?
That
my-
would change the math.
That would change the math very significantly and in your opponent's favor in a heartbeat.
I'd sit here and make a claim of F-stop did nothing wrong, but
F-stop
I can't.
You can't do that with a
everything-
straight face.
But yeah,
I can't. I can't.
Okay, I guess I am just remembering Rainbow Shine's glory days of her partner in crime.
Right. When you have
Yeah.
infinite events, then having infinite cost reduction on those
Like-
events is much more relevant.
Yes.
I would love to replace Rainbow Shine in Burb with any other card, but there's nothing better.
There's no other 2-1-1-2.
Rainbow
Right.
Shine
Yeah.
did nothing wrong. Did nothing wrong.
Mhm.
You think that's why she teamed up with F-Stop? She's like, I'm going to ban this actually oppressive card from Premiere.
Yes, that was her plan all along. It just took her like 5, 6, 7 sets to figure that plan out.
Got some kind of like shadow conspiracy here, because it's never the cards that are actually responsible for anything that get banned. Like Globetrotter got banned.
Twilight.
No, Globetrotter got banned. Twilight's sitting there going, ha ha.
Yeah, but then we caught up to the criminal mastermind. So
And then
it's
she did
okay.
it again, and Vapor Trail got banned, and she's like, aha.
All right, so clearly ban worthiness is a communicable disease,
Yes.
and Rainbow Shine is patient 0.
Yes.
Okay. But as Cheese says, Burb is reaching very high levels of meta adoption now. And that is kind of unusual for control decks.
Yeah, for control. I think this is actually the most we've seen of people running a control deck in tournaments. Like we've seen, like when Hot Wings was in its prime, quite a few people running that or similar things.
Right.
But I think we hit 4 people at BronyCon,
Running
or
Burb.
was it 5? Yeah, at BronyCon.
Running Hot Wings or Burb?
I don't think it
Burb.
was. I think it was only 3.
Only 3.
Because
Yeah,
Grandpa's
GP
wasn't
wasn't
playing it.
there. Yeah.
It was 3. But that's still a significant fraction of the playfield when they're running nearly identical decks.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, until a burb killer is found, and believe me, there are people looking for it, we're talking right now.
Yeah. I am looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I'm inching closer, but it's not there.
Until that's found, you need to prepare for it.
Anyway, takeaway number 3 is all hail Sequestria mains.
Basically.
So
Specifically, Tempest and Skystar.
I think it's more like confront to flip mains, or mains that don't have a reasonably easily guaranteed flip condition are more risky.
Yeah. Of all the decks we talked about today, all of them were Tempest or Skystar, except for the one Luna deck. And this is definitely their meta right now. Hopefully set 10 will help change that a little bit.
Remains to be seen.
But still, it's better than Final Mod.
Yes, that's true.
I
mean, Vinyl Mod went on for like a year and a half. Come on, that was a little long.
Can I have Pile back?
No.
I would like a core legal combo. And I say that not because I'm a combo player, but because that forces control decks like Chaos Control and Burb to actually run other tools.
Yeah, they probably won't be able. It's like,
I don't know how you build a combo deck that can beat Burb.
trivially, you just play Bats or the Vote, and then their only answer is Tempest and Grubber.
And Berry Punch and Orange Swirl. Like,
Berry Punch and Orange Swirl isn't hasty.
What does Burb have infinite of ways to flicker it?
Yes, but if they have a Discord in play, you frighten it first, and you they can't play Portal.
That's a lot of asking for the combo deck.
Why can't they play Portal?
Because you played the Vote. Or
okay, the Vote. Yeah. Sure, if it's the Vote, that works. But because Bats is only your friends can't leave play, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, you just have to run the Vote. Run 3 copies of the Vote.
Yeah.
And use one of them to frighten, one of them to say you can't play events,
and one to score a point.
Seems good.
It's hard to beat Burb as a combo deck. You have to use all of your answers. And Burb isn't exactly slow.
No. No.
I think the last thing we can kind of take away from this meta right now is where's Yellow? And why is it not doing the things that it is capable of doing?
I'm trying to fix that.
I know. And
but
that
yes, it did not show up. Well, there were 2 yellow decks at Gen Con, actually.
Yes, there was also a yellow deck at BronyCon. They just didn't happen to make top. Yeah. There's actually 2 reasons why yellow is very well positioned right now with the 2 top control decks that we see. Number 1, Spooky Ruins completely shuts down Chaos Control and forces an answer.
Yep.
Number 2, Burb struggles against swarm decks. If it doesn't have its bait and switch, the single target removal and general trickery isn't nearly as efficient.
I'm actually going to point out number 3 as well, is that yellow is the best color for dealing with both resources and troublemakers.
Yes, that's true.
So yeah, I think the future of aggro lies in yellow, especially since I think the best point acceleration aggro has right now
Bunyips.
is Bunyip.
Yep. Bunyip's great.
Bunyip.
Yeah, because you might not be getting 2 points, but you don't need to win a face-off, let alone by 5. Control is really good at making Night Glider just go, yeah, that's a cool 2-power friend you have there with no text. So yeah, yellow. I dig it.
Very cool.
Did somebody say Celestia?
Oh, yeah, Celestia.
Someone
Yeah.
did say Celestia, because if you're running yellow and you're not running Celestia, what are you doing?
I hear Cursed all the way across the country.
Oh, well,
Howling.
You
Like
mean the
halfway
other
across?
country?
Halfway across the continent?
Has he?
he's
Yeah.
in Canada.
Did he move yet?
I don't know if he's still there.
Really?
I think he's
Yeah.
preparing to move.
Yeah.
Okay, I was not aware of this plans.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing yellow has. Brian. Sick of things being dismissed, banished, or moved? Run Brian.
I am
Yeah.
not at all sick of dismissing and moving my opponent's friends.
Stuff getting moved or banished or dismissed or... Whoops.
All right. Well, I think that covers most of the major takeaways from the meta. So hopefully we'll see some people try to take a crack at breaking through Burb, getting around chaos control, and finding a way to speed up. I think Bloon is a good place to start for any aspiring aggro players. She doesn't have the normal weaknesses of having to confront to flip, and she's very efficient at getting power up to problems.
Yeah, I definitely think there is an answer. This isn't as problematic as AJ, where aggro just lit. Huh?
So we just have to find it.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it's there.
Well, before we wrap things up for the evening, I think Bugle has
Nope.
some
I gotta-
thoughts he wants to share with us.
Gotta plug Coco.
Fine, plug Coco first.
Okay, Coco plug. We're restarting Coco because it turns out that when everyone's at a convention, no one's going to be playing Coco matches. So if you signed up for Coco, we have restarted Coco 7 with the ban list, which means that everyone should resubmit their decks because everyone needs to adapt.
Just make sure you fill it full of main 6 and AJ.
Yes.
And
And no vapor trails.
And no vapor trails, yeah.
And no vapor trails.
And throw some stuff in there for good measure, too.
Yeah.
Might as well. Same result.
No, you can, because AJ's leaving the format is such a big deal, it makes sense that everyone should look at their deck and consider whether or not that is still the correct thing to be running, given that AJ is no longer a thing.
Do you still
Especially
need
if you
20
submitted
ways?
a deck with AJ.
Especially if
still
you
need-
submitted a deck with AJ.
20 ways to move an opponent's main home? Probably not.
Thinking no. Couldn't hurt though, because that still does work on the Trader to the Hive.
Yeah, that's true.
It does.
And Dash.
No one runs
Yeah.
Dash.
Dash was kind of
Dash was
annoying.
fun.
Yeah,
at Gen
she's
Con.
there.
Yeah, Dash
No.
was at Gen Con, and
Nobody
she was
runs
kind of
Dash.
annoying.
Nobody runs Dash.
Like,
No, nobody is a different pony on Reddit. This was
Some pony.
Some
yeah,
pony?
this was some
Sundial.
pony. This was some
I'm Pancake, Sundial, whichever,
Yeah.
both.
sea pancake. Yeah.
All right, that's fair enough.
All right. Well, now that Aura has successfully stolen your Thunder Bugle,
That's fine.
all right, go for it. Share with us your news.
So yeah, this is pretty big. So 4.5 years, folks. It has been almost 4.5 years since I've started making content for pony cards. Right before Canterlot Knights hit stores, actually. The first thing I made, deck primer for a very bad purple white pink deck that I made back in Premiere only. And yes, even back then, I was far too worried. After that, there was the creation of and primer on One Pace, the game's first infamous combo deck. Cloud Chaser and Flitter Explain, my blog where the titular ponies explain the card game stuff for newbies and vets alike. And of course, the co-creation of Commentary is Magic and our first stream way back at Everfree Northwest 2015. Not to mention loads of other projects and deck primers that have come and gone before and since then. The point is, I love this game, and I love making content for it. And I've loved doing so for 4.5 years. But, well, all that takes time and creative energy. And unfortunately, this world has cursed us, and there's only so much of both. And I find myself needing to take a break. So, after thinking about it long and hard, and discussing it with the other members of SIM, I've decided to temporarily leave. Now, this does not mean I'm leaving the game. Cafe will still update about once a month, and you'll still find me on the Reddit and Discord and all those places. And heck, maybe I'll write a think piece or two if the mood strikes me. But my involvement in the content produced by Sim will be much lower for the time being. And I'm sure I'll come back as a special guest every once in a while, but that'll probably be it for a bit. This was not an easy decision, but one I feel is necessary at this point in my life. Big thanks to Cheese, Ara, and Grandpa's for not only helping make Sim what it is now, but continuing on where I'm currently unable to. And of course, thanks to all of you, folks, for watching all these years as well, or consuming my content however you did. It's been one heck of a ride, and I can't think of a better group of people to have shared it with.
Thank you for everything you've done, Bugle. It's been great working with you, and I know that this break is going to be very good for you in the long run.
Yeah. Hopefully it's more temporary than long term, but right now it needs to happen.
That's fair. Everyone needs to remember that variety is the spice of life, and dedicating yourself too much to any one endeavor can lead to a bunch of stress. So take care of yourself. I know we'll be in contact, and I don't think anyone's going to have trouble finding you or reaching you.
No, absolutely not.
Or hunting games on Octagon to try to break Burb.
I'm trying real hard. But the deck's fun at least. But yeah, let's yeah. I guess I've said what needed to be said.
No. Like you said, you'll be around.
I'll be here.
It'll be very easy to get a hold of you. All I have to do is scream into the night, "Tricolor aggro sucks!"
Don't you mean quad color?
At least.
And then, like, Bugle's going to descend from the heavens and just be like, "Oh no, you didn't."
Look, all I'm saying is 4-color is the new tricolor.
That's what I thought. I know
Tricolor
that
used to be the new bicolor, but now it's yeah.
I know that face. We're gonna see 5-color. We're gonna see 6-color. You're going to invent a new color so you can run 7-color.
already did 6-color.
Now you're going to invent a 7th color.
He just runs colorless cards. It's fine.
So what? The glimmer color?
Yes.
Sure. All right.
Can we get black and red and green?
No. Hush you. No. We cannot.
Can I have a red and a
No.
a dual
No.
color?
No.
No.
Black and
No.
red
No.
alicorn?
No. Unanimous no.
I don't know.
How about a red and how about instead of a red and black main, he gets a black and red main?
Still an alicorn.
They're different.
All right. I'm declaring this topic officially wrapped up. Done with this.
Done with red and black alicorns.
Done with red and black alicorns.
What's the name of the red and black alicorn? Is it Donut Steel?
It's Donut Steel.
Does he enjoy?
Okay, let's talk about alicorns that everyone loves.
Don't say Flurry Heart.
No, I'm gonna say Celestia because Flurry Heart was too obvious,
That's fair.
and I knew you would just invoke her in my stead.
Yes, there you go. Well played, sir. I have been bamboozled.
What, you mean like Starlight? Who's
Yes.
totally going to turn into an alicorn for some reason.
Yeah, or Spike.
Spike
Crap.
already got.
Spike already
Spike
is an
was better
alicorn.
before he had wings.
That's it. I'm flipping the table over. I'm out.
All right.
I actually don't even care that Spike got wings.
No, but it's the meme.
The meme is good. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us for our stream discussion, and for those of you who played at the tournaments as well. Of course, we would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating, because doing so will give you some awesome rewards like the ability to vote on polls and determine what future videos we produce, a chance to share your own deck creations to be reviewed live, and even the ability to challenge members of Sim or other patrons to feature duels using some cool rules. If you have comments or questions that you'd like to send our way, or if you're just interested in hearing about what we're working on for the future, there are many ways you can stay in contact. We have our Patreon, as mentioned previously, but we also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/commentaryismagic. We're on Twitter, @CIM_CCG. You can email us at commentaryismagicteam@gmail.com. At patrons at or above the $5 per month level, get access to our Slack, where you can chat live with us any day, anytime. Our sleep schedules are pretty crazy. We'll have some more news about that Slack in the coming weeks as well.
Our sleep schedules are less crazy after the con.
Yeah, I think everyone's been relatively normal this last week.
I kind of slept for like 12 hours last night, but
What? Impossible. Anyway.
If you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, which is linked in the sidebar. Please make sure to subscribe while you're over there so we can have a channel URL that makes some amount of sense and is easy to remember. If you missed us not being able to live stream from Gen Con, good news, there are some recordings of games there.
And we are going to work on getting those uploaded, aren't we?
yeah.
Yeah.
Including the finals, I believe, right?
Yes,
we did
the
get
finals
that full
was
thing.
recorded. I
Yes, we did.
think the audio is a little messed up, but
With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic, and I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Arcat and
Signing off for now, Emperor Bugle, but I'll see you all later, folks.
We'll see you, folks.
Bye.
Bye.